I speak as one who wore the crown, who judged between men, who weighed gold as dust, and who searched the depths of the heart as one searches the sea. I have commanded armies and silenced them. I have been obeyed without question. Yet hear me from the first breath of my words. I did not choose wisdom because I lacked power. I chose wisdom because I saw what power could not do. When the throne was placed beneath me, I was young, and the people were many. Their voices rose like waves, each demanding direction, justice, protection. I looked upon them and understood that strength of arm could not guide them, nor sharpness of sword. Power can force silence, but it cannot reveal truth. Power can bend bodies, but it cannot straighten the soul. So I asked for a hearing heart. I did not ask to rule men. I asked to understand them. I did not ask to extend my days. I asked to know how days should be lived. I did not ask to defeat enemies. I asked to defeat ignorance, beginning with my own. Power is loud. Wisdom is quiet. Power announces itself. Wisdom waits to be sought. I have seen kings drunk on command, mistaking fear for loyalty. I have seen rulers surround themselves with praise until they could no longer hear warning. Their palaces were high, yet their foundations were thin. When the earth shook, they fell quickly, and none remembered their names with tenderness. I learned early that to rule others without ruling oneself is to build a city without walls. Every desire becomes an invader, every impulse a traitor. A man may conquer provinces and still be a captive to his appetite. Such a man is not strong. He is merely unopposed. Wisdom taught me restraint before it taught me action. It showed me that the tongue can destroy faster than the sword, that anger clouds judgment, that haste wears the face of courage while carrying the heart of folly. I learned to sit with a matter, to let it ripen, to allow truth to rise on its own. Truth does not need to shout, it survives waiting. I was given wealth beyond measure, yet I tell you plainly, riches obey wisdom, not the other way around. Gold follows order, it flees chaos. I saw men chase abundance with clenched fists, only to watch it slip through their fingers like sand. They believed possession was the same as mastery. It is not. The wise man owns what he can release. The foolish man is owned by what he fears to lose. I built houses and gardens. I gathered singers and scholars. I filled storehouses and treasuries. I tasted pleasure and examined delight. I withheld nothing from myself that the eye desired. And after all this, I learned a bitter clarity. Pleasure without wisdom multiplies emptiness. It entertains the senses while starving the soul. Power promised me control. Wisdom revealed proportion. I saw that not every question deserves an answer. Not every wrong demands my hand. Not every victory is worth its cost. Wisdom taught me to discern weight, to measure consequences before causes, to understand that the end of a thing reveals more than its beginning. Power rushes forward. Wisdom looks back and ahead at once. I judged disputes between the small and the mighty. I listened when truth trembled and when falsehood spoke boldly. I learned that justice is not loud. It is precise, It requires patience, for truth often arrives dressed in weakness. The arrogant dismiss what does not flatter them. The wise lean closer. Many believed my reign was defined by splendor. They saw the gold, the banners, the reach of my name. Few saw the nights spent awake, wrestling with judgment, weighing the cost of a single decision upon generations yet unborn. Power ends with the moment. Wisdom echoes. I watched pride enter quietly. It does not announce itself as arrogance. It calls itself confidence. It praises achievement until the heart forgets gratitude. When a man believes he is the source of his success, wisdom begins to depart. Reverence is the soil in which understanding grows. Without it, knowledge becomes sharp and cruel. I learned that the fear of God is not terror, but alignment. It is knowing one's place beneath heaven. It is remembering that breath is borrowed, days are numbered, and authority is entrusted, not owned. When a king forgets this, he becomes smaller than the throne he sits upon. Power seeks to be seen. Wisdom seeks to see. There is more strength in listening than in commanding, more security in humility than in display. A gentle answer preserves peace. A measured step avoids ruin. These are not weaknesses. They are victories unseen by crowds, but celebrated by time. I observed generations rise and fall like grass in the field. One labors, another inherits. One builds, another dismantles. The sun witnesses all without favor. This taught me that legacy is not secured by monuments, but by instruction passed quietly from heart to heart. A wise man prepares his soul before he prepares his storehouse. He orders his thoughts before he orders his servants. He governs desire before he governs cities. For what is a kingdom gained if the self is lost? I speak now to those who seek power first. Know this: power tests wisdom, but wisdom sustains power. Without wisdom, authority decays into tyranny. Without reverence, success turns into a snare. Without restraint, abundance becomes a burden. I do not condemn power. I have wielded it. I warn you of its hunger. Power always asks for more. Wisdom teaches when to stop. Learn to value correction. It is a gift rarely given and seldom welcomed. Learn to delay speech. Words once released cannot be recalled. Learn to walk slowly when paths are unclear. Speed is impressive. Direction is decisive. I am Solomon. I have been called great. I have been called wise. Yet I tell you this with honesty, earned through years. The greatest lesson I learned was how little I truly controlled. Life is vapor. Glory fades. Only wisdom leaves a fragrance that time cannot erase. Choose wisdom over power. Choose understanding over dominance. Choose reverence over pride. For power rules for a season, but wisdom walks with a man to the end of his days, and speaks for him long after his voice is dust. I have learned that power is impatient. It demands results before understanding. It acts before it listens. Wisdom moves differently. Wisdom waits until silence reveals what noise hides. When I sat upon the throne, men thought the crown itself granted sight. They were wrong. The crown blinds those who rely on it. It lifts the head so high, that the ground is forgotten. Only wisdom bends the neck again. I watched strong men collapse under the weight of their own certainty. They trusted what had once succeeded them. They believed yesterday's victories would protect tomorrow. But time is no ally to arrogance. Time strips all things to their truth. I learned to distrust my own confidence, not because confidence is evil, but because it grows wild when unguarded. Wisdom taught me to question even my best thoughts, especially my best thoughts. For a man's greatest errors are not born of ignorance, but of certainty untested. I observed the hearts of men from the highest seat. I saw how quickly loyalty dissolves when fear enters. I saw how praise corrupts judgment more subtly than insult. Those who flatter you do not wish you well. They wish you weak. Wisdom trained my ear to hear what was not said, to see what was hidden behind polite words, to weigh silence heavier than speech, for truth often fears crowds. I ruled a people countless as the sand, yet I learned that numbers do not create strength. Order does, justice does, restraint does. A kingdom held together by fear fractures at the first sign of weakness. A kingdom held together by wisdom stands even when the king is gone. I learned that wealth magnifies the soul. It does not change it, it reveals it. The generous become more generous, the greedy become more desperate. Gold is a mirror, not a remedy. I saw men beg for riches, believing they would be free. They did not know that unmastered wealth enslaves faster than poverty. For the poor man fears hunger, the rich man fears loss. Fear rules both unless wisdom intervenes. Wisdom taught me to hold loosely what others clutch tightly, to enjoy without being owned, to possess without worship. I learned that pleasure must be governed, or it becomes a tyrant harsher than any ruler. Desire unruled multiplies desire. Satisfaction unmeasured devours itself. I tasted laughter and found it fleeting. I tasted achievement and found it fragile. I tasted admiration and found it dangerous. Only understanding remained when all else passed. I watched the young despise instruction, and the old regret it. I watched men repeat the errors they mocked in others. I watched ambition outrun character, and character, when neglected, collapse. Wisdom does not shout warnings. It whispers early. Those who ignore it later hear only ruin. I learned that justice delayed poisons the judge as much as the judged. That mercy without wisdom becomes weakness. That severity without wisdom becomes cruelty. Balance is not instinct. It is trained. I feared God not because I trembled, but because I understood proportion. He is eternal. I am dust given breath. From this understanding came peace. When a man knows his place, he stops competing with heaven, and only then can he rule earth well. I speak now not as a conqueror, but as a witness. Power impressed me. Wisdom transformed me. Power demanded obedience. Wisdom invited alignment. Power ended with my reign. Wisdom walks beyond my grave. You who listen generations later, do not envy the throne. Envied thrones bury kings. Envy understanding. Envy restraint. Envy the quiet strength that needs no display. For the sword rusts, the crown tarnishes, The palace crumbles, but wisdom outlives stone, and the one who chooses it rules longer than kings. I came to see that most men do not seek wisdom, because it demands surrender. Power flatters the ego. Wisdom dismantles it. Power allows a man to believe he is sufficient unto himself. Wisdom reminds him that he is sustained, not sovereign. This truth was slow to settle in me. I learned it not in triumph, but in excess, not in lack, but in abundance. For when nothing is denied a man, his inner order is tested more severely than when all is withheld. I observed how abundance dulls gratitude. What once amazed becomes expected. What once humbled becomes routine, and what becomes routine loses its power to instruct. Wisdom taught me to return wonder to my days, to look again at what familiarity had made small, to remember that breath itself is not owed. I learned that the heart grows proud not only through conquest, but through comfort. Ease invites forgetfulness. Forgetfulness invites decay. A nation does not fall first by invasion, but by neglect of the inner law. When discipline loosens, disorder enters quietly. When disorder becomes familiar, collapse is near. I watched leaders confuse authority with infallibility. They surrounded themselves with agreement, mistaking echo for truth. An echo comforts, truth corrects. Wisdom trained me to welcome discomfort, not suffering for its own sake, but the sharpness that exposes error before it spreads. A rebuke received early saves a kingdom. A rebuke rejected becomes rebellion later. I saw how pride hardens the face. It stiffens the neck. It narrows the path until a man can no longer turn. Wisdom keeps the path wide. It leaves room for repentance, room for change, room for learning. I learned that strength without gentleness fractures what it holds, and gentleness without strength dissolves into weakness. Only wisdom binds them. In my courts, I saw truth tremble while lies stood boldly. Falsehood often speaks with confidence. Truth does not rush. It waits for the discerning ear. This is why wisdom cannot be rushed. It ripens slowly. Like fruit on a tree, it sweetens with time. Those who pluck too early taste bitterness and call it failure. I learned to wait before judgment, to allow silence to press upon a matter. Silence exposes contradictions. Speech often hides them. Power demands immediate answers. Wisdom allows questions to mature. I saw how anger shortens vision, how envy distorts measure, how fear disguises itself as caution. Wisdom trained my spirit to remain still while others surged. Stillness revealed what movement concealed. I learned that a man's true wealth is his inner order. When the inner house is aligned, the outer house follows. But when the inner house is divided, no abundance can stabilize it. I watched fortunes rise and fall on the strength of unseen habits. Discipline practiced in private shaped destinies more than public declarations. Power attracts crowds. Wisdom attracts endurance. Crowds depart when benefit fades. Endurance remains when all else is stripped away. I learned that legacy is not declared. It is discovered later. A man may chase remembrance and still be forgotten. Another may walk quietly and speak for generations. I learned to fear applause. It intoxicates faster than wine. It convinces the soul it has arrived, and arrival ends growth. Wisdom keeps a man unfinished, always refining, always sharpening, never complete. I saw how men traded long obedience for short reward. They gained quickly and lost permanently. Wisdom prefers the unseen gain, the slow accumulation, the foundation laid beneath years. I learned that a king who cannot govern his appetites will eventually be governed by them. Hunger ignored grows louder. Desire indulged grows stronger. Restraint is not denial. It is direction. Wisdom does not kill desire. It orders it. I learned that justice must be impartial to endure. Favor corrodes authority. Bribes blind even the learned. When judgment bends, trust collapses. And without trust, no throne stands long. I feared God because I understood that I was accountable. Accountability sobers the mind. It sharpens judgment. It humbles ambition. A man who believes he will answer governs differently than one who believes he will escape. Power tempts men to forget this. Wisdom engraves it on the heart. I speak now as one who has reached the far end of seeking. I tested power. I tested pleasure. I tested accumulation. Wisdom alone remained. It corrected me when I erred. It restrained me when I rushed. It humbled me when I rose. And now, as my voice travels beyond my years, I leave this with you. Do not chase power, hoping it will make you wise. It will not. Choose wisdom first, and power, if it comes, will serve rather than rule you. For power fades with breath, but wisdom walks with a man even into silence. I also learned that wisdom does not protect a man from sorrow. It prepares him for it. Those who think wisdom promises ease have not listened closely. It promises clarity, not comfort, sight, not shelter. I buried those I loved. I watched promises break. I saw seasons turn against expectation. Wisdom did not prevent these things. It gave them meaning. Power resists sorrow. Wisdom absorbs it. A powerful man curses the day of loss. A wise man asks what the day teaches. I learned that grief unmasks illusion. It strips titles. It humbles achievement. It reminds a king that the grave does not recognize rank. This knowledge did not weaken me. It steadied me. For when a man accepts his limits, he stops pretending he is more than dust. And dust, when aligned with heaven, becomes purposeful. I observed how men cling to youth as if time were an enemy. Time is not the enemy. Ignorance is. Time reveals what we have built within. Those who invest inward grow deeper. Those who invest only outward grow hollow. I watched my own reflection change. Strength softened. Desire slowed. Certainty loosened. Wisdom did not abandon me with age. It refined me. I learned that counsel is a shield. A king without counsel is already exposed. Isolation breeds error faster than ignorance. Power isolates by elevation. Wisdom reconnects through humility. I learned to invite voices that disagreed with me. Not many did, but the few who dared preserved my sight. Flattery closes doors. Correction opens them. I learned that words carry weight beyond intention. A careless sentence can undo years of trust. A restrained word can prevent war. Wisdom taught my tongue to wait until my heart was aligned. Silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. I learned that ambition, when untamed, consumes what it builds. It demands speed. It rejects rest. It treats people as steps. Wisdom slows ambition. It reminds a man that life is not a ladder, but a path. I watched those who climbed relentlessly. They reached heights and found themselves alone. No feast tastes sweet in isolation. No victory warms without companionship. Wisdom taught me to value peace above expansion. Peace sustains what growth threatens. A restless kingdom grows wide and thin. A peaceful kingdom grows deep and strong. I learned that discipline is love directed inward, not punishment, not deprivation. It preserves strength for what matters. Those who reject discipline call it freedom. They soon discover chains they did not choose. I saw how habits outlived intentions. Men planned wisely, but lived carelessly. Wisdom lives in repetition, in daily restraint, in unseen faithfulness. I learned that reverence is not displayed. It is practiced. A man who fears God in private does not need to perform righteousness in public. Performance exhausts. Integrity endures. I learned that success tests character more fiercely than failure. Failure humbles quickly. Success seduces slowly. Those who survive failure may still fall to prosperity. Wisdom watches abundance closely. It sets guards when others celebrate. I learned that endings instruct more than beginnings. Many start well, few finish faithfully. Wisdom teaches a man to ask not how he begins, but how he will be remembered when his strength departs. I speak now as one whose strength has departed. My throne will not remain. My name will fade into story. Others will judge my life with clarity I did not always possess. Let them. What matters is this. I learned that power without wisdom accelerates ruin. But wisdom, even without power, creates peace. Choose wisdom while you are able, not when necessity forces humility. For when necessity teaches, the cost is already high. Wisdom invites early, gently, quietly. Those who hear it soon walk lighter paths. Those who delay still learn, but through wounds. I have spoken as one who walked both roads. May you choose the better first. I also learned that wisdom does not hurry to explain itself. It allows misunderstanding. It allows delay. It allows others to think they have surpassed it. Power rushes to defend its image. Wisdom has no image to protect. I watched men exhaust themselves proving worth that needed no proof. Their days were loud. Their nights were restless. They measured themselves constantly against others and found no rest in comparison. Wisdom taught me to withdraw from comparison, for comparison steals joy and clarity alike. It turns life into a contest without end. I learned that envy is the most corrosive poison of the soul. It pretends to admire while secretly resenting. It feeds on what others possess and starves on what it already has. Wisdom extinguishes envy by teaching sufficiency, not abundance. Sufficiency. A man who knows what is enough is richer than one who owns excess. Power multiplies desire. Wisdom disciplines it. I observed how men worship outcomes while neglecting foundations. They celebrated harvest while ignoring the soil. When storms came, their abundance vanished. Wisdom tends roots, quietly, daily. I learned that repetition builds mastery. Small acts done faithfully outlast great acts done rarely. The world praises spectacle. Wisdom praises consistency. I learned that faithfulness is invisible to crowds, but unmistakable to time. Time is the final judge. It does not flatter. It does not forget. I watched my own words tested by years. Some endured, some collapsed. Wisdom taught me humility, even toward my own understanding. For a man may speak wisely today, and foolishly tomorrow if he ceases to listen. Listening is the posture of wisdom. Speaking is its servant. Power reverses this order. I learned that correction received late is heavier than correction received early. Pride delays instruction. Delay multiplies pain. Wisdom bows quickly and rises lighter. I learned that wealth gained without patience creates impatience everywhere else. The man who grows rich too fast grows restless too quickly. Wisdom regulates pace. It knows that growth forced creates fractures unseen until collapse. I learned that ambition unexamined becomes appetite, and appetite, once enthroned, will never rule gently. Wisdom dethrones appetite before it claims authority. I learned that sleep is a teacher. Rest restores judgment. The restless man mistakes urgency for importance. Wisdom grants rest because it trusts order. I learned that a man who cannot be alone cannot be wise. Solitude reveals alignment. Noise conceals it. I withdrew often, not to escape responsibility, but to return to it rightly ordered. Wisdom requires space. Crowds distort it. Flattery drowns it. Speed outruns it. Stillness preserves it. I learned that many seek answers when they should seek discernment. Answers satisfy curiosity. Discernment guides life. Power provides answers quickly. Wisdom teaches how to ask. I learned that truth is rarely extreme. Extremes attract attention. Balance sustains life. Wisdom walks the narrow path between indulgence and denial, between severity and softness. I learned that a man may speak rightly and still live wrongly. Wisdom demands alignment between tongue and path. I learned that integrity is costly at first and invaluable later. Compromise saves time briefly and steals years silently. Wisdom calculates long horizons. I learned that endings are shaped by beginnings, but also by the many quiet choices between. The middle determines the end. Power celebrates beginnings. Wisdom guards the middle. I learned that reputation is what men think of you, but character is what governs you when none are watching. Power manages reputation. Wisdom forms character. I learned that a man may rule nations and still fail his own soul. Such a failure echoes louder than conquest. Wisdom rescues the soul before it attempts to rescue the world. I learned that fear of God steadies everything else. Without it, knowledge becomes arrogance. Strength becomes cruelty. Freedom becomes chaos. With it, even weakness is guided. I do not speak these things as theories. I lived them. I erred. I learned. Some lessons arrived gently. Others arrived with wounds. Yet wisdom remained faithful, even when I faltered. It corrected me. It waited for me. It did not abandon me. This is why I speak to those who come after me. Power will tempt you early. Wisdom will call you quietly. Power promises speed. Wisdom promises endurance. Power dazzles. Wisdom steadies. When power fades, wisdom remains to carry what survives. Choose it while your strength is full. Do not wait for regret to teach you, for regret is a harsh instructor, and wisdom is a gentle one. I have spoken long so that you may shorten your suffering. I have walked far so that you may walk wisely. And though my voice will one day fade, what wisdom plants within you will speak when all other voices are silent. I have learned that silence holds more counsel than speech. Men seek to be heard, yet they rarely listen. They fill the air with noise to cover uncertainty, but wisdom waits quietly for the careful ear. I observed kingdoms where tongues ran unchecked, lies dressed as truth multiplied like weeds. Rash decisions were praised, while patience was scorned. And yet, only those who cultivated quiet judgment endured. I learned that anger blinds, but sorrow reveals. When the heart softens through grief, it begins to perceive what power alone cannot force. Strength may bend a man's will, but wisdom bends the mind gently toward understanding. I have seen rulers seek honor, yet lose everything that mattered in their pursuit. I have seen men chase applause and stumble over foundations they never built. Power rewards visibility. Wisdom ensures stability. I learned that wealth itself is neutral. It is neither evil nor blessing until a man directs it. Gold can nurture a kingdom or poison it. It can enslave a soul or free it. It is wisdom alone that gives value to treasure. I watched abundance teach men vanity. They flaunted what they did not command and boasted as if control were given permanently. I knew then that discipline over self was more valuable than dominion over empires. For a disciplined man governs himself, and no loss can undo his stability. I learned that desire, when unrestrained, becomes a tyrant. Every indulgence left unchecked calls for another. Pleasure without wisdom multiplies itself endlessly and leaves emptiness in its wake. A man who masters appetite possesses freedom more lasting than all riches. I observed how pride infiltrates slowly as water seeps through stone. It whispers confidence. It disguises error as certainty. The proud call correction an insult, and the humble call it salvation. Those who do not hear this whisper will stumble even upon solid ground. I learned that governance is a reflection of the heart. A man who cannot rule himself cannot rule a city. A ruler who indulges folly in private discovers enemies in public. Discipline over self is the seed from which lasting authority grows. I have known fear, yet I did not submit to it. I have known temptation, yet I restrained it. I have known sorrow, yet I found its lesson. Wisdom guided each step, even when the path was hidden in shadow. Power without wisdom would have crushed me. Wisdom without power allowed me to endure. I learned to measure words before uttering them. A careless phrase can shatter trust more surely than battle. A patient sentence can heal wounds unseen. Wisdom teaches the weight of speech and the strength of listening. I have seen men measure life by victories, not by understanding. They counted wealth, titles, and lands, and called themselves successful. But their souls were empty. Wisdom revealed the error too late, when their harvests could not satisfy the heart. I learned that patience surpasses action. Haste achieves nothing lasting. Speed may impress the crowd, but it does not endure the test of time. Wisdom waits while power shouts. Wisdom strengthens while pride burns. I observed how humility protects more than arrogance. The humble invite correction. The proud resist it. The humble grow with instruction. The proud falter under it. The crown is heavy, yet the burden of wisdom is heavier still. It weighs not on the shoulders, but upon the heart. I have seen generations rise and fall, and all their glories vanish like morning mist. Only that which is guided by wisdom survives. Only understanding endures beyond the fleeting praise of men. Only restraint secures the fleeting wealth of time. I have spoken as one who has witnessed kings and servants alike, as one who has tested the allure of power and the discipline of the soul. I have known the splendor of authority and the quiet satisfaction of a heart ordered rightly. Choose wisdom, I say again, for power is a shadow that flees at sunset. Wealth is a wind that shifts without warning. Fame is a spark that dies at the first rain. But wisdom endures, even when crowns crumble, even when kingdoms vanish, even when the voice of the king is silenced. I speak to those who listen beyond my age, those who will not bow to the first show of might, those who will value what is un, those who will treasure what lasts beyond their sight. Wisdom walks beside them, while all else fades. I speak now not as one seeking favor, nor as one wishing to be remembered, but as one who has walked the long road of kingship and seen the fleeting nature of all things held in human hands. I have known glory, and I have known its shadow. I have known praise, and I have felt its emptiness. I have known wealth, and I have seen it vanish faster than breath. I have known power, and I have discovered how little it commands when the heart itself is unmastered. It is wisdom that endures. It is understanding that persists. It is reverence that steadies all else. Power fades, riches crumble, crowds forget. But wisdom remains, quietly, like a river flowing beneath the earth. It nourishes the soul, even when all else withers. I leave you with this truth. Do not mistake the loud for the lasting. Do not follow desire without discernment. Do not pursue dominion before you have mastered yourself. Those who rule themselves first rule all else with greater certainty. The crown, the gold, the armies, these are tools, but the heart is the foundation. A kingdom built of knowledge alone falls without humility. A kingdom built of power alone falls without restraint. A kingdom built of wisdom endures when all else collapses. I have sat upon the throne, and I have seen the faces of those who would challenge me. I have judged rightly, and I have judged poorly. I have celebrated victories, and I have suffered in silence when pride led me astray. Yet every error, every moment of triumph, every whisper of understanding taught me that mastery of the self surpasses mastery of men. Remember this: time will test all that you hold dear. Fortune will rise and fall. Fame will fade. The mighty will stumble, and the clever will be forgotten. But wisdom will endure. It walks in the quiet moments when no one notices. It whispers truths that no applause can measure. It strengthens the soul against what cannot be controlled. It guides when all else is lost. It protects when wealth vanishes. It comforts when power fails. It instructs when silence is the only company. Those who honor wisdom honor life itself. Those who follow it will not escape struggle, but they will see the path through it. Those who choose it over pride, over haste, over vanity, will leave a mark far greater than kingship alone could grant. So hear me, generations yet to come. Seek wisdom before you seek power. Let your heart be ordered before your hands take the throne. Fear God not in terror, but in recognition of the measure of your days. Respect life, guide your desires, weigh your words, govern your impulses, and you shall walk among men with eyes open while others stumble blindly, drawn by the illusion of might. Power fades, riches crumble, fame dissolves, but wisdom endures. Carry it with you, teach it to those who follow, and let it be your crown when all else has passed away.